Hey guys, Foxdrop here with another game commentary for you guys today. This game I'm playing Nasus Jungle. This is a game I played on my Smurf account, which is around Gold 1. So it's not mega high elo, but it's still pretty high. It still should be a good game to show you guys. Now I'm playing Nasus. Nasus was a champion which you guys had requested that I play, and at the moment Nasus is very, very flavour of the month, and especially in competitive play. He fits the meta really, really well, and I'll be the first one to admit that actually I kind of underestimated Nasus when he got like a few reworks and stuff. I didn't really think he'd be a good jungler, and to be fair to myself, my reasonings for why I didn't think he'd be a good jungler are still very like prevalent. As in, I thought that his E would cost too much mana to be useful in to clear with, and that you still wouldn't get enough stacks on your Q so that it wouldn't matter. Like that, the most recent rework changed the way like you get double Q stacks from big creeps, and I still didn't think it was like really gonna do anything. So, and to be honest, like those two things are still big issues with Nasus. But what happened was the people who introduced him kind of changed the way they played Nasus. Like Nasus used to just be like a farm bot. He used to sit top and he used to farm 24/7. You'd get a lot of stacks on your Q, and then when it came to like late game, you just be really strong and destroy people. But Nasus kind of changed. What they just made him like a CC tank, so that he wouldn't carry anything from the jungle. But with his E, which has an armor shred, and with his wither, which is a extremely powerful cripple, move speed and attack speed, and his ultimate, which just makes him even beefier. He's now it makes up for a pretty good jungle in the current meta, so I was kind of wrong about that. Now the runes and masteries I'm running on Nasus, as always, they'll be in the description, but I'm running with, I believe it is 921 masteries, and I'm going AD reds, armor yellows, magic resist blues, or maybe even magic resist level blues, and move speed Quints. I believe that's the page I'm using, or if not, that is the ideal page in my opinion. You can also go like 0.219. I think in hindsight, 0.219 would actually be a really good mastery page, because I do run out of mana a lot on this guy, and I don't really find that my damage is like, it doesn't really matter with Nasus about my damage. That wasn't kind of like what I was worried about this game at all. Now I'm kind of farming with my Q in the jungle, which is something that is actually pretty hard to do on Nasus, and it's something you have to balance. You have to balance farming your Q with your clear speed, because if you want to farm your Q to like its max potential, you're going to lose a lot of clear speed, because you have to wait for the cooldown for it to be up. And considering you have to wait, you're not maxing it either. As Nasus for skill order, I go E W Q. Because you're not putting any points into your Q, it doesn't really have a lot of damage, so it's kind of hard for you to get last hits off on it. Now I've got my level 3. I got Smartness at blue, and I'm now level 3. And I'm looking at where top lane is positioned, and Jace is pushing really, really hard. And this Lee Sin, who started with boots, which means he doesn't have fort pot, so he can't bait anything out. He doesn't have a lot of health. It's going to be a pretty easy kill, and this Jace is in a really nice position too. And Jace does have fort pot, which means he's going to get like a bit of a power boost. So this top lane could be a fairly easy gank for me to do. And it looks as though that's what I'm going for. He's level 3 now, which means he's probably got 1 point in each skill. But I don't think it matters too much, because look at his health. His health is really, really low. So now that they're on the tower, here we go. We're going in for a dive. Diving is really good at low levels. I just tank the tower up and I run away. I pop my ghost to run away. Maybe I needed to do that, maybe not. If I did take an extra tower hit, I would have been dead. So, like, you know, better safe than sorry. You don't want to lose your double buff early on, because that's just pretty much the worst thing you can do when you're jungling. And we just pick up a really easy kill there. Now, one of the big reasons why diving is so good is because Lee Sin, not only did he die, look at what he's losing here. He's losing like over 1 wave of minions, and that's not only the gold he's losing, more importantly it's the XP. So this Jace is now going to have an even bigger lead on this Lee Sin, which means, considering how snowbally top lane is, that is a pretty big deal. And as you'll see, Jace uses this advantage to huge effectiveness and just takes a huge dump on this Lee Sin. And so those early tower dives are stuff you can do to be snowballing lanes really hard, to be giving your teammates lots of advantages. And Lee Sin's like, he's already dead again. Like, he just died, and so he's going to miss even more. So as far as Lee Sin's concerned, he's fucked. Like, his top lane is over. And Nocturne, from Nocturne's point of view, he can't help Lee Sin anymore, because there's just no point. Like, it's really hard for him to do that. The only reason he'd want to go top is to soak up the XP that this Lee Sin isn't going to be getting. Now I've gone mid. We're not going to be able to kill this Lux at all. I take a lot of damage from tower hits, but this Lux is now on half health. She does have potions, which means that's not perfect. It doesn't. So, like, this gank didn't really mean much, but I'm just putting pressure on Lux. Didn't even blow a summon. We didn't achieve anything, but it was still not a bad gank from that point of view, just because if this Kha'Zix is someone who again can be snowballing really hard, so I want to show my face a little bit. Now I'm running down bot, but they kind of know I'm around here and I'm kind of caught out, so I want to get out here, and the safest way for me to run out of here is up towards mid, because I know Kha'Zix is a lot stronger than Lux, and so I know if I go mid then Kha'Zix can help me. And unfortunately, like, we should pick up a kill on this Lux here. Like, this should actually go to a kill for us. Instead of me getting caught out in the jungle, that really should have been our kill. I was walking down bot lane. That was my intention anyway. But they knew I was there. It might be warded here or something. Now, if I would have just kept running bot, I would have been closed off by Taric and Caitlyn. And I know that our bot lane isn't stronger than their bot lane, which means our bot couldn't be helping me. So it was the safest route for me to run was to run back to mid lane, and so that's what I did, and we got out of it safely, and in fact we probably should have had another kill out of it. And looking top lane, like I said, this would be snowballing, and it's snowballing really hard. So because I don't need to worry about top, I should only be worrying about mid lane and bot lane. Like, the biggest problems we can face here is if their bot lane gets really fed, because that is going to be the biggest enemy for our Jace. Like, if their AD is fed, then their AD can take a huge dump on our Jace, and so however fed Jace is will not matter. It doesn't matter how fed Jace is if their AD is fed, because their AD will just own him. So to that extent, I want to camp bot just so that I can deny Caitlyn getting stronger. So that's kind of what I want to do. And I also want to, if I snowball mid as well though, mid can then go and roam bot. Kha'Zix is very good at roaming, and so if I do that, they're like my two options. So I can either directly affect bot, or I can indirectly affect bot by going mid. So we'll see what choice I make instead. It really, like, it doesn't matter which one I do. In all honesty, all that matters is whichever one is easiest. Now, it's kind of easy to gank for an Alistar, and they are pushed up really, really far bot lane. So to that extent, it's really easy to gank bot, but we'll see. Like, it's easy. It's also easy to gank for Kha'Zix because Lux is just very squishy early on in the lane phase, and it looks like we're going for a gank bot now. Now, the only downside to this is that this Alistar really should be helping us to gank, but he's got no mana. MF has no health, and Ali has no mana, which means no one can help this gank. Which means Kha'Zix has to go balls deep by himself. He does pick up the kill, but there are no assists on our team. No one gets an assist on our team. So that means that this MF, who was in trouble, like, it doesn't help her at all. It doesn't help her at all. All that happens is, I mean, I came down bot as well, so I could kind of counter gank this a little bit. But I mean, MF died as well, but Caitlyn did get an assist on it, so that's not too big a deal. That's just like this doesn't, like, what happened bot, like, just now doesn't really affect the way that the bot lane is going. Like, it doesn't affect the way MF isn't going to lose harder because she died. Obviously, she died, which isn't a good thing, but she didn't die to Caitlyn, so it doesn't matter. Now, you may be asking why I'm pushing this lane, especially considering our bot lane is losing. The reason I'm pushing this is because the way the lane was... Why does the camera keep changing? The way the lane was positioned is that this lane will be pushing anyway. Like, there were more of our creeps than there were of their creeps, which means our lane was going to be pushing towards their tower regardless. It would just push slower if I didn't push it myself, and that would actually really screw over MF, because it would mean that it would get to their tower a lot slower than if I had pushed it out. So by the time she got there, the wave would have been like around here, and then she would have just been zoned. If I push it, then the wave will reset, which is exactly what has happened here. So the wave has reset, and now MF gets a bit of a free lane, and the lane is in a better position. Even though, you know, arguably, like, just pushing it, you can make the point that pushing lanes isn't good. You know, you don't want to screw the position over, but everything is situational, and in that situation, it was good to push the lane because it actually helped the lane position. And talking about my item builds a bit, I'm going to be rushing a Spirit of the Ancient Golem and then a Aegis. That's going to be the build I'm running for. Now, this Alistar to engage this gank, actually, like, he kind of flash headbutt poled. Instead of just flash polving and then headbutting her back, he like flashed onto her face and then comboed her, which was really weird. I run in here just to get a really easy gank off. Don't even have to use my ghost. And we get both kills. And to be fair, MF shouldn't have died here, but she kind of positioned a bit poorly. Like she stood too close to Caitlyn and she died. And so now we're going to be diving Nocturne as well. And look what I do here. Like, I'm not helping necessarily. Like, I'm not putting out any damage, but I'm tanking the tower. Like, I tank the tower for those two so they can just kill Nocturne by themselves. So, in that dive, just tanking the tower, just standing in the tower range, just so I could soak up all the damage so that the Kha'Zix and the Alistar could dive without one of them dying. So that way no one dies because I held on to the tower aggro. And so, yeah, I go back, I buy the Spirit of the Ancient Golem, and now I'm going to buy an Aegis. Aegis is just a really nice item in general. There are lots of items you can buy on Nasus. As long as you have like this kind of supporty tank build, then you'll be fine on him. You don't need to carry anything. You don't want to build any damage on Nasus. You just want to go tanky. Aegis, Locket, Randwinds, items like that are all really, really good on Nasus. Even like Frozen Fist is a really nice item because of the way it scales with your Q. Because like your Q does on hit damage, so your Q then benefits from the Sheen, which you get from Glacial Shroud. So you kind of have like an AoE slow with that, and it's like you also get the CDR and the armor and the mana, and because Nasus does have mana issues, they're all really nice. So it's a nice item to get, but it's a bit more like offensively kind of, what's the word? I can't think of the word, but it's more offensive than defensive, and so you really only want to be getting that if you have a bit of cash to spare, because primarily you want to be a tank, and especially in our team setup, Jace, the tanky people on your team are the supports and the top laners and the junglers, and our top lane being Jace is not a tanky laner, so I don't need damage. Basically, I don't need to get any damage, so why not just build tank? Now, the one good thing about, well, not the one, but another good thing about Nasus is his ability to solo Dragon, which is what I'm going to do right here, because his ultimate, if you read his ultimate, basically you get like Mega Boss mode. He's like Super Saiyan, and while you're in your Super Saiyan mode, you do AoE damage, you get attack range and cast range, whatever. That's not a big deal when you're just soloing Dragon, but more importantly, you do 3% of nearby's max health as magic damage, and you convert that to physical damage. And neutral creeps, especially the big neutral creeps like Dragon, Baron, and the buffs, have a lot of health, so that absolutely destroys Dragon. And because you then get that as attack damage as well, it's even better. So you just get a ton of damage. You just destroy it, basically. You destroy Dragon really hard. And after this Dragon pick, I was kind of just roaming around trying to make the plays, and it like bot opened up to us, and Kha'Zix was roaming because he's getting a bit fed now, so he's putting his mark on the game. Now this is one, like right here, I'm out of mana and my E is actually up. I don't know whether it would have killed her or not, 'cause she had barrier, but it probably, like the initial tick probably would have like one-shot her, so she wouldn't have even been able to barrier out of it. But I'm out of mana because I keep spamming my E, and your E does take a lot of mana, so you have to be very careful when you're playing Nasus. You need to balance like your clear speed alongside, there's a lot of things. Basically, actually jungling on Nasus is kind of hard. Like, he's not a great jungler in as far as, like, Trundle, for example, is a complete opposite in Nasus, to the extent that he's a great jungler. Like, in the actual jungle, he's really, really good. Like, he's really strong. But when you take him out of the jungle and you put him in like PvP situations, Trundle isn't that great. He kind of falls off, and Nasus is the exact opposite. And right here, we just like flat out dive Lux because I'm tanky and because this Kha'Zix is pretty strong. Like, we literally just run up to her. I didn't even pop ghost. No, I just literally ran up to her and we just killed her. Like, we just tower dived her and she died. Because that's how much pressure we have in the game. And if we keep doing stuff like that, these guys will just lose instantly. Like, we need to keep the pressure up. If you look at our war positionings and where I'm positioned, like, we're all pushed up really far, especially Jace, who's really, really far pushed up. We're all pushed up really far, which means that these guys, like, they're only safe in their base, and it's really hard to play when you're in that situation. It's really, really hard to play when you're in that situation. So I'm just going to keep up my pressure, keep it all going, and then, like this should snowball into a victory really, really easily. And what I was saying before about being strong in the jungle and stuff, about Trundle and Nasus actually sucks in the jungle. Well, it doesn't suck, but it's not great in the jungle because it takes him a lot of mana to clear quickly because you have to be spamming your E. And if you want to be stacking your Q to get to like your maximum efficiency, you need to sacrifice clear speed because you need to wait for your Q to be off cooldowns in order to get all the last hits on it. So in the jungle, Nasus isn't great. And like I say, if you don't learn how to balance that kind of stuff, then number one, you won't be as strong because your Q won't be as stacked. And number two, you won't have a lot of mana, which is a problem I suffered with this game to a certain extent. And so if you just practice like not spamming your like this here is probably an unnecessary, like I just did like a WQ combo onto Nocturne and that's 80, that's 210 mana and I only have 700 mana and not a lot of regen either. The only regen I get is from my Spirit of the Ancient Golem, which isn't bad, but when you're spamming 210 mana like that to not achieve anything, it's not worth it. Like you have to use your E very kind of cautiously because else it's just you're just wasting too much mana. So that's kind of like my tip for you guys when you're playing Nasus. Learn how to judge your mana use and don't waste your mana because it's very easy to do that. And this looks like this game's about to be over. And this game was like a pretty huge stomp, I'll admit, but I mean, you guys can achieve these games really easy as well. There was if I didn't play well this game, it wouldn't have been a stomp. Like I know it's really easy to get very critical of these kind of games and just say, oh well, you face troll, you face noobs. Like, you didn't play well, this was just like a noob team or whatever. It's not true, because if, say, for example, I didn't dive top, I didn't snowball Jace, then that Lee Sin wouldn't have died, and then Jace wouldn't have kept snowballing, and so that would have been a completely different story. If, after that, I didn't help out our bot lane didn't play very well this game at all. Like, they didn't play well. Like, they were outclassed by the enemy bot lane quite heavily. Like, our MF 95 farm compared to their 140. I mean, they were outplayed. We had a good top laner, and we had like an average mid laner. Like, I'm not, Kha'Zix played fine. Like, he didn't play badly at all. I'm not hating on him whatsoever. It's just, he didn't like have a massive impact on the game. It was just the fact that we made some good decisions, and this was a very efficient game. Like, very, very efficient game in the way it went down. And to be honest, the gold difference is very kind of, I don't know what the word is really, but it's kind of biased just because a lot of that gold is on Jace. Like, compare Jace to Lee Sin, like one person, that's a lot of where the gold has gone. And we got a lot of towers, we got a lot of dragons, so that's all because we were snowballing anyway. It wasn't like we had all this gold and therefore it was obvious that we'd win. No, we had the advantage and we kept pressing it and therefore we got all this gold. These games, you just need to, these are games which are, you can learn a lot more from games like these than you think. At least I don't want you guys to go and dismiss this game just because you think it was, a storm. These guys sucked or something like that. Like these games happen because you play well. The enemies don't play great, but you play well, and that's why you win these games. So that's all. I'm sorry for babbling on a bit about that. That's all I want to say. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this Nasus clip. Let me know which champion you want to see next. I do have some others planned, some others lined up. But go check me out on Facebook as well if you want to follow me and follow all my updates and get sneak peeks at my unreleased videos. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next video.